The war continues in Tranquil Bay, with 3 airships testing the defenses of Falador's new Mithril Ballista. At the palace, Lanira lets the Ring of Peace know that the presence of the Raven Queen is no longer felt on the material plane. She volunteers to fly Cinta to help with Tranquil Bay. Itmos tells them that there is one more ballista ready to be installed. Flare asks for it to be used to help the Eastern Front, where her people are most threatened. Hart suggests that they place it on a cart to keep it mobile. And with their list of allies thinning, she also volunteers to travel through the Fey Crossing to plead for aid from Queen Titania of the Feywild. A distracted Flare looks down at the reports in her hand. She reads that all over the world, the Order of Valor were attacked by the Shadow Walkers and the Gale crime syndicates. There is a note telling her that the Age of Valor is over. Itmos, Cornelius, and Six travel to his tower in Falador City. There they connect with Benton and Don Stormbrewer as Itmos unveils an idea to create a portable furnace able to dispel the magic of the airships. They brainstorm and come up with plans for a device that can affect a 20-foot radius and immediately get to work on construction. Meanwhile, Mudgraw finds Malice in time for them both to interrogate Commander Dawnsinger. All 3 individuals seem confused as it becomes clear that all of them have been fed misinformation. Dawnsinger pledges himself to the new Lord Commander as they depart. Mudgraw meditates in his garden where he has another vision. He sees the pond in the center of the Gentle Grove and sees undead creatures surrounding 2022 AD. He decides to meet Flare at the Gentle Grove. The 2 of them approach Son of the Morning, and Mudgraw pleads to commune inside the pond. She feels his spiritual connection with nature and grants him permission. She warns that her communes there have been known to leave her unconscious for days. Flare and Ubo stand guard around the pond as he floats in the center. As he meditates, he's shown the day of the fracturing, when the most powerful druids met there in secret. Knowing that the divine and the arcane would cause havoc, they poured their magic and spirits into one large opal. They die, one by one, passing it on to the last. And as the fracturing began to tear apart the world, the last druid used the powerful magic in their hand to cast a sphere of protection, causing their own death in the process as the opal sank to the bottom of the pond. The sphere stops the fracturing from extending past the borders of known Valaria. And then Mudgraw sees more. He sees other countries, islands, civilizations beyond the borders outside the sphere. He comes to understand that there is far more to Valaria than people know. While Flare sits on the grass by the pond and contemplates the fall of her Order of Valor, she falls asleep and dreams a familiar dream. The Gentle Grove and her people burning at the hands of the elves. As she watches it again and again, Sohzu comes forth and offers her aid. They both scry on a room in a large home in Falador City where Qilar, Lord Avril, and Rolen meet. They decide to execute their plan against the Gentle Grove that very night and reveal that troops still loyal to Avril are ready to massacre the creatures and blame it on Gale. Sohzu acknowledges that his sister, Alina Falador, started the racial superiority of the elves at Falador's founding. He aims to hit a reset button and end all of it. He offers to kill all those leaders at once since they're in the same room, but Flare refuses to agree. Flare then wakes up to see a distraught Ubo wondering how to wake up Mudgraw. All around them, the jungle is burning and the people are screaming. It's Flare's dream come to life. Flare is immediately attacked by Shadow Walkers in the midst of the chaos. Overwhelmed by the scene of her ancestral home burning, she gives into her ferocity and sinks her claws into the assassin. She sees Son of the Morning and Hathi doing the same. Thanks to Ubo's help, Mudgraw is awakened in time to see Commanders Dawnsinger and Hazeldream arrive with reinforcements. They create a perimeter to block the advancing traders and emerging Warforged from getting to the citizens while they escape westward towards 3033 AD. Although many die that night, it could have been much worse without the quick thinking of some heroes. Flare takes traitors to Malice at the Lunar Falls fortress for questioning, and Mudgraw meets her there after diving back into the pond to find the powerful druidic opal he saw in his vision. At the fortress, they discover little from the captors, besides that most were recruited into the military by Lord Avril and taught his dogma of an elvish superiority. Flare viciously claws open one of the traitors, while Mudgraw and Malice do the same to another. Meanwhile, Eatmos and Six run to Qilar's home in Falador City, where they find a way in. They overhear Lord Avril leaving, but Rolen stays behind. He and Six have a confrontation that ends in Rolen being knocked prone thanks to a bullet to his knee. He refuses to talk, so Six kills him and takes his sword. The next morning, the Ring of Peace meet at the palace to relay information. Malice says that he will continue to focus on the war effort, but he pulls all his remaining commanders from the battle to seek out more traitors. In the meantime, he secretly contacts Qilar and asks for a meeting when and where he so chooses. Qilar agrees to meet in Falador City the next day in a brothel near and dear to Malice's heart. They meet along with Avril, who turns out to be a simulacrum or a copy of the real one. Malice pleads for the two factions to team together to defeat the Lich, but Qilar responds by laying out all of his work. It turns out that he's secretly orchestrated nearly every step along Sohzu's plan for centuries, including killing the previous queen, installing Rain as king, letting himself be arrested, and Avril's rise and retirement. He's behind the whole war and has many other secrets still to be told. He offers to let Malice command Sohzu's army, but Malice of course refuses. And when he does, the brothel and the entire city block explodes. From there, the war effort goes poorly with no leaders, but the Warforged still don't advance as much as they can. Dawn Stormbrewer takes artificer engineers to clear the rubble of the terrorist attack, where they're able to find Malice barely alive. In another part of the jungle, Eatmos, Flare, Mudgraw, and Six travel towards 2022 AD, where they believe that Sohzu is currently located. They're stopped halfway there by Rolen and the real Lord Avril, along with the Shadow Walkers. A tremendous fight takes place, with both sides taking a lot of damage. Mudgraw is able to kill Rolen once again, as he and Eatmos see that he's used up the magic of his sword too many times and cannot be brought back to life the next day. Avril and Flare have an epic duel where all can see. He taunts her by saying that this is all a distraction as a group of Warforged enter the battle and attack only the Ring of Peace. Avril kills Flare, but Mudgraw, acting through Ubo, takes out all the Shadow Walkers and lands the killing blow on Avril. Eatmos uses powerful spells to engage all the Warforged at once, but they're just too much for him. He falls, and the Warforged kills him. Seeing no other combatants in their line of sight, they march on, leaving the ring to deal with the aftermath. Mudgraw races to Flare and casts his only use of the Revivify spell to bring Flare back to life. They see Eatmos' lifeless body and struggle with a decision. They can travel days back north to Falador City in hopes of a resurrection, or Mudgraw can perform a reincarnation within an hour. They recall a discussion they had on the road where Eatmos stated that he would want the quickest route back to continue the mission. Mudgraw, with the help of Ubo and the rest of the team, performs his most complicated ritual and reincarnates Eatmos. As the cocoon of vines and soil break free, Eatmos takes his first breath in the body of a red tiefling.